She is Mary Kay Cabot from the Plain Dealer, Cleveland.com. And, of course, she's on the fan hotline. Hi, Mary Kay. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How you doing?
What's up, Mary Kay?
Good. The Quinchon Junkhead story doesn't sound too promising right now. Your thoughts on what happened and where we're going with this thing.
Well, it's really incredibly unfortunate. I don't really believe that there were any red flags about anything of this sort heading in. If there were, they flew completely under the radar. Maybe the Browns had some intel on something, maybe they didn't, but I never saw anything at all or heard anything at all that there were character concerns about Quinshon Judkins. But when we hear and see what happened or what allegedly happened and the description in the police report, I really can't see how the NFL isn't going to suspend him. They suspended Mike Hall for 5 games, and I would think that Quinchon would be facing some games if the NFL determines that these accusations are true.
Mary Kay, if you're the Browns in this situation, do you just kind of hit delete on him until the NFL allows you to put him on the field? What do you do as you move forward here and knowing that you were going to base your offense around this guy?
Well, as they did in the case of Mike Hall, they put him back out on the field until the NFL told them that they couldn't. So maybe it will go like that. Maybe it won't. This situation is different because Mike Hall was under contract when his domestic violence issue happened last summer. And as we know, Quinchon is the lone remaining Browns draft pick that is unsigned of the 7. So he's not signed yet. So I don't know. It doesn't mean that you can't practice if you're unsigned. But generally, those guys try to make some kind of a stand or something. Rookies are due to report on Friday, and I just don't know exactly how this is going to go yet. But I suppose there is a world in which he can be practicing until the NFL says otherwise.
Mary Kay, how bad of a look would it be if this guy ends up with a contract anytime soon? Do you think the Browns have to let this get resolved in some way, shape, or form before he signs a contract, or what?
Yeah, it probably would be a good idea from an optics standpoint, at least, to hold off before they rush into a fully guaranteed contract, which is what Quinchon has been waiting for and hoping for, like the other second-round pick. So right now, while they let this early part of the legal process play out, they should probably take their time in that. And I know that they are in the process of gathering more information. So you basically have a Browns investigation, you have a league investigation going on, and then you have the legal process playing out.
So are we expecting him here Friday then?
I don't know the answer to that yet.
Yeah.
The Browns have been mum. I don't know. I don't know if he's planning on showing up and reporting. I'm assuming that maybe he will, but I can't honestly say I know the answer to that question right now.
And then the other question I was going to say too, I mean, if he would sign a contract, do they have to make that public? Does that make sense?
Well, it would become public. Those things are not kept secret anymore. So that would, if he did sign his contract, that would be out there almost immediately. So,
okay.
Maybe they,
especially because there are other second rounders that were waiting to see what he did, right? And so
30 of them are unsigned.
Yeah.
The last thing I saw.
Well, they're not waiting to see what he does. They're waiting to get guaranteed contracts like Carson did and like Jaden Higgins did, like Carson Schwessinger. So that's what they're waiting for. They're not waiting on Quinchon.
Okay. Jerome Ford, Dylan Sampson, Pierre Strong. Do they need to go get another running back?
Well, they might. I mean, it depends on what happens. I think they'll probably be a little bit judicious about that and let it play out a bit. But if they get word, or when they get word that Quinchon has been suspended, then I think that they might want to add to the pile some. So, that's something that they're going to have to plan to possibly do. And again, we just don't know yet how this is going to play out. If it's going to be, 2 games, 4 games, 6 games, The standard for a first-time violation is 6 games. If the NFL determines that, that physical force took place. So, it could be that, but there can be mitigating factors. There can be enhancing factors. So it's just a matter of time to, for everyone to figure out where this thing is going.
Mary Kay, big picture stuff on this. If you look at the numbers of domestic violence against NFL players, they've gone down since Ray Rice. But still, I mean, clearly there's more to be done. And it's not like these guys aren't told, hey, guys, we talked about this when they left and they broke camp. We're like, all right, please, let's just hope that nobody gets in trouble between now and camp. And then boom, we've had 2 stories like that. But what can the league do? What can the NFLPA do to try to, make that number even lower?
Well, everyone has to do more, obviously. If it's still happening, then everyone has to step up the efforts to make sure that these kinds of things don't happen. And I know the league takes a very active role in it already, but some are falling through the cracks, apparently. So they need to do more. The teams probably also need to do more at the local level. But I know that on the last day of minicamp, Kevin Stefanski did what he always does. He adamantly makes sure that the players understand, go out and protect your football team and do the right things and don't get in trouble and all of those kinds of things. So we'll just have to see, how this all goes. But he really did emphasize that and does emphasize it. But again, apparently more effort is needed.
Mary Kay Cabot joining us from the Plain Dealer in Cleveland.com. Browns went through this with Mike Hall Jr. last year. He served a suspension. He came back and played. Mary Kay injured his knee in Week 18 against the Baltimore Ravens, had some knee surgery. Where does he stand? How close do you think he is to being on the football field?
It's hard to say. We haven't seen him yet out there on the football field. So he rehabbed throughout the spring and through mandatory minicamp, and we just haven't seen him yet. So I doubt that he's going to be ready for the start of camp just based on the fact that he wasn't there in minicamp out on that field. So he could be a PUP guy starting camp on PUP. Again, I don't know that for sure yet, but it just seems like maybe it could be headed that way to give him the time that he needs to ramp up a little bit and maybe be ready to, pass those early drills and things like that. So we'll see how that goes. But when you look at Mike Hall's season, his rookie season, I feel like it was in some respects derailed right from that incident because he served the 5-game suspension. And then, you're losing a lot of practice time. You're losing a lot of game time. And then, he comes back for 4 games and he suffers the first knee injury. And then he played in another 4 games. And then he suffered the season-ending knee injury at the end. So I just don't think that time off early on helped matters. And hopefully, and most importantly, of course, is the fact that he did seek counseling during that time. And he believes that he is rehabilitated. And I can't emphasize enough that that's the most important thing here.
Mary Kay, as we get set for camp here, I'm sure you're probably going to do a piece on position battles that you're looking forward to seeing, but can you give us one that isn't obvious, like quarterback or wide receiver? Well, quarterback. Is there another key area of focus for you that you're like, I can't wait to see this battle because that position is truly up in the air?
Well, there aren't a lot of those. There are not a ton of those, but I do think defensive end is one place to look at and see who's going to make sure that he gets on the field opposite Myles Garrett most of the time. And you've got some really good candidates over there. You've got Alex Wright back. You've got Isaiah McGuire, who kind of started to come on strong last year. You've got Joe Tryon Shoyinka, who they signed as a free agent in the offseason. So I think that's definitely something to watch.
Were you surprised they let Double O go, or could you see that coming?
Yeah, I think you could kind of see that coming. It was something where he had been injured a number of times, and once you start to add some players at a certain spot, that some of the older players could be in trouble.
Mary Kay Cabot's joining us from the Plain Dealer in Cleveland.com. Again, rookies reporting on Friday, so things are getting fired up. Mary Kay, I thought it was interesting. Jamar Chase of the Cincinnati Bengals was recently asked in a podcast, best corner you go against. And he said, it's easy, man. I mean, Denzel. And he said, it's twice a year. He's the guy. He's on me most of the time. And he's got great feet. And he said nice things about him. If you have a guy who Jamar Chase thinks is the best corner in the league, we all think Miles is the best defensive end in the league. Boy, we need a bounce back from this defense this year if the Browns are going to do anything. Do they not? And do you think they can do that? Because 2 years ago, the defense was really good. Last year, it slipped a little bit.
So I think they can rebound. I really do. I think they can rebound. And Miles does seem on a mission to help elevate the play of everyone around him. And Denzel has certainly been doing that all along and has been a tremendous, tremendous leader. So those two guys together, I do think that they can pull this defense back up into a more respectable place. And I think it will help the defense very, very much if the Browns can run the ball. Now, of course, that's why they went out and got Quinshon and Dillon. That was supposed to be a 1-2 combo that would have been dynamite out there. And now we have to see when and where that might happen. But I think a good running game will help that defense, and they will make more of a commitment to it this season. And if the offense can score some more points and stay on the field a little bit, that will help too.
Mary Kay, I got about 60 seconds here. Just curious, update on David Njoku contract situation.
There's nothing going on yet with David with the contract situation, and there's not necessarily a sense of urgency right now. It could happen before the veterans have to report. It could happen sometime during training camp. They could wait until they get closer to the trade deadline. But the key thing here is that both sides have expressed an interest in wanting to be together for multiple years.
Mary Kay, as always, thank you. We appreciate your time and giving us an update and some perspective, especially on the Quinchon Junkhead situation. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Kay.
Thanks, guys.